Welcome to Believers Talk with Joe and Steve. We are your hosts. I'm Joe.
I'm Steve.
And in this episode, we want to kind of break down what's going on in the draft. Everyone's talking about who we're going to get, and we just want to kind of break down who we've seen and have had private visits of, right?
Yeah, at the Bills facility.
Right, correct.
So,
Yeah, you said you get so many visits.
yeah, you get 30 visits
Mhm.
a year. That's what you're allowed.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, we're up to 12.
Okay.
30, so we have 18 more to
Perfect.
go. And this is a revolving door. There's always
Right.
visits that are hidden.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, we don't
stuff
know
like
about,
that
right.
we don't know about, or it gets
Mhm.
released a couple days later, or somebody's already flying in that we don't know of as
Right.
of now.
Right. So before we do that, I just want to remind everyone, if you're new to the channel, if you've been here a couple times and like the content, please be sure to subscribe to this channel, like or dislike this video, leave a comment or two, we'll reply. If you like any Bills content, we'll cover it up. We'll cover everything, all right? Going from the regular season, everything. So be sure to subscribe. Also, a little news that we didn't mention last week that kind of happened.
Which happened as soon as we were done taping and I was getting ready to leave. I'm like, oh yeah, we didn't touch base on Jordan Matthews because
Right.
he had a couple visits. It was
Yeah.
with the Cardinals and they had an offer with them, the Packers,
Mhm.
and I think there was another team in there. And then a couple hours later,
He
we
signs.
already posted the video and he signs with the New England Patriots,
Yep.
which
The evil umpire, right?
he signed a 1-year deal with $700,000 in incentives, so
Okay.
it can be up to $1.7 million.
Okay.
But out of all that, there's only $170 million or $170,000 guaranteed.
Wow.
So they can basically
Cut
cut him for
Cut him.
nothing
Yeah.
and see if it holds up because he was
Wow.
injured last year. So maybe they're taking a flyer on him, and he's trying to take a 1-year deal and
Sure.
turn that into a big payday next year.
Which is amazing because I thought he wanted a big payday
Yeah.
this year, right? Like that's
There
just
was
crazy.
talk of him wanting around 10 million, and then
Mhm.
there was something that got released saying that the Bills said he wanted 5 million.
Right.
So that's more understandable, but to take
Sure.
a $1.7 million up to $1.7 million contract, that's
Yeah, great deal for New England.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see, like, as Bills fans were saying, why wouldn't the Bills offer him that?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they did, but the things that Bills can't offer him
Yeah.
is Tom Brady as
Right.
quarterback. So
Right.
if he's going to bank on himself for that 1-year deal to get a big payday next year,
Mhm.
you might as well go to a quarterback that's one of the better ones in the league.
Absolutely. I actually laughed because I was getting ready to say, yeah, you have a stable quarterback, which the Bills don't have. You have an offensive line, but I was like, no, they don't have an offensive line either right now. So we're both kind of in the same boat there. But yeah, so that's kind of news that we left out last week. We just want to touch base. Jordan Matthews to the Patriots. Again, not that big of a deal, but we'll see what happens there. But we want to get into the player visits now. Again, a lot of talk this time of year of, who the Bills interested in. Well, you can tell who they're interested in a lot of times by who they bring in to visit their campus. So I don't know if you wanted to get us started, get the ball rolling a little bit here.
Yeah, and these are in no real order.
Mhm.
Obviously, we'll break it down by position, but
Right.
the first one, I want to start with my guy, Josh Rosen. So the Bills brought him in.
Uh-huh.
They met with him quite a few times, whether
Yep.
it's been at the Combine,
Mhm.
out in LA for the Pro Day, and
Mhm.
now they bring him into the facility. So
Right. Yeah, Josh Rosen and my guy,
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, came in as well. Both those guys, the Bills have actually visited 3 times.
Okay.
Or have had 3 visits with including these private visits. So that should tell you what their interest is in these 2 guys, because we haven't done that with Allen and we haven't done that with Darnold.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you like where we're sitting at there maybe. But there is another quarterback. I didn't know if you want to talk about him. Who
Yeah.
we both like.
Yeah,
Like he's not.
and just to get back on
Mhm.
Allen and Darnold, they have had private workouts with them too.
Right,
So
right.
that doesn't go towards this player visits. These
Correct.
are just strictly players that have come
Come
to
to
the Bills
Buffalo,
facility.
yeah. Mhm.
So, like you said, there is other meetings out there that
Yeah.
they have done with different players.
Right.
But another quarterback who I like too,
Yeah, I mean,
and I think who's a possibility if we
Mhm.
stay at that 22 pick, is Mason Rudolph.
Right.
And I think he's a good quarterback that can come in and play for us. But
Mhm.
of those 3, I'm putting Rosen, Mayfield, Rudolph in my
Yeah.
order. You're
I'm
opposite.
switching the 2. Yeah, I'm switching 1 too. But I feel like we both think the same way. You can't go wrong really with either guy at this point, right? I like both of them. We'll be doing a mock draft coming up here in the next week or 2. Very excited. But I was really tempted, and I still am. If the Bills move up to 2, to trade, I feel like trade to 2 with the Giants, I feel like it's for Rosen. I don't
Yep.
feel like there's another option out there. But it's a matter, are the Bills trading at 2? Are the Bills trading to like the 8 spot, or
Yep.
are the Bills staying put? And that's where you're talking maybe a little more Baker Mayfield
Yep.
type stuff.
And we'll get into a little bit of that later because there is another visit that's tied into the Mayfield.
Yes,
and I'm
absolutely.
going to kind of tie that into like
Absolutely.
a draft prospect. But of the quarterbacks in this draft,
Mm-hmm.
these would be my top 3 that I think we're going to draft. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, you know, you can throw Darnold in there and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But these are the 3 that I think the Bills have a really good chance of drafting.
Right.
And the other guy would be Kyle Arletta, but we haven't had him in for a visit.
Correct.
But like I said, these are the 3 that if I was a GM, I would be
Oh,
looking
yeah,
at
I would too.
the
Yeah.
position that we're in now, whether we trade
Mhm.
up for Rosen, stay put at Mayfield, or even trade up a few picks to get Mayfield, and then stay put where we're at in the end of the first round for Rudolph,
Right.
or possibly trading up in the second round for Rudolph. That's where I think those options are for those players.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that there. Next position, we're going to go stay on the offensive side of the ball, wide receiver. We've actually had one wide receiver come in
Okay.
for a visit at our campus. Again, we've talked to other ones. You know, we've had interviews at the Senior Bowl, things like that. But he's actually my favorite receiver in this draft, so I'm really excited about it. DJ Chark from LSU. I can't speak enough about this guy. I've spoke. If you've watched previous videos, you're probably sick of me talking about him. But yeah, I really like this guy. We've had him for a private visit. I don't know what your thoughts are on
Yeah, I
him.
think we're in the same boat. I don't know if he's my favorite receiver.
Mhm.
I think he's my favorite receiver in the draft. I don't think he's the top receiver.
Right, right.
So to me, he's at that like 2 or 3 range.
Mhm.
I'm kind of back and forth with him, but I do like DJ Chark.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the most potential out of the draft.
Yeah, I think so too. Now I don't see us being able to get him if we trade up to 2, just because of all the draft picks we have to trade late rounds to get. But you never know. And these private visits do not mean that we're not going to trade up and we don't have a chance. But you know, they're just showing.
And for me, Chark, if I was drafting him,
Mhm.
it would be in that second round. I would not go up in the first round to get him.
No,
and
no,
I
no.
think maybe that's a high possibility that somebody does take him in the first round because I've said multiple times I do not like this receiver draft.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, and this receiver, to me, this receiver class has a lot of depth of mediocrity, right? Like there's a lot of who, like you said, DJ Chark might be the highest ceiling out of all these guys, but you know, Calvin Ridley, oh gosh, I'm forgetting names. DJ Moore, Sutton from SMU,
Yep.
And then Oklahoma State,
James Washington.
James Washington, yeah. These are all guys that are probably all in the same range to me. And DJ Chark, out of all of them, has the highest ceiling just because of the past with LSU wide receivers.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's kind of a little bit of a more unknown with him because
Right.
he shows the intangibles like with the speed and all that, but you don't know because LSU has been so bad in the past of throwing the ball, which I don't understand.
Forever, too, right?
Yeah, they get so many top recruits and they just can't do anything on the offensive side. It's just very weird.
Yeah. So that's the one wide receiver we've had come in for a private visit. Moving down to the cornerbacks, we have Denzel Ward from OSU. Actually, no, the other guy on here is probably my favorite. But he's a first round draft pick type guy.
A lot of people have him ranked as a number 1 corner.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the guys there.
I'm not sure if me and you are looking at the same guy or not, but I'll be interested to find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll go down through Dante Jackson out of LSU, former teammate of Trey White.
Right.
He's been, talking him up and saying how
absolutely.
he's the best cornerback in the draft. So we'll see what happens there.
Sure. Next guy, and this is my favorite guy in the draft, cornerback wise, is Josh Johnson from Iowa. He's the one that I really like, so I don't know if that was the guy you were looking at or.
Yeah, see, me and him now, for some reason, I loved his tape. I thought he was really good. And then at the combine, he kind of really disappointed me. So it kind of took a step back away from him. The next guy, Jared Alexander
From Louisville.
In the combine, he really took a step forward. I kind of watched him. So he's on that verge of maybe overtaking Josh Johnson for me. But Josh Johnson for the whole year until the combine, where he just looked so out of whack, and I couldn't fathom how this would happen. He took a little bit of a step back, and Alexander kind of pumped up a little bit. So those are my 2 favorite corners in the draft. But yeah, like you said, Josh Johnson, I was right there with you until just seeing him at the combine.
It's all those 2 a.m. meetings that they have and stuff. He wasn't ready for it.
It just threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. So those are the cornerbacks that we've had in. We have a defensive tackle. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. R.J. McIntosh out of Miami. So, you know, another hole to fill and bring him in. Maybe he'd be a guy, heir apparent to Kyle Williams.
Right.
So
absolutely, yeah. We know Kyle Williams is probably only here for 1 year, signed that 1 year contract. Yep. So we do need an heir apparent to him. We have signed Star Latualea, but we still do need a little depth at that position. But he's the only one we've had in for a private visit. He's someone that again would be maybe a little bit, maybe second, third round guy. Yeah. Pick up a little later. And so that wouldn't affect the first round so much. Next guy is a guy I really like. His stock has actually moved up a lot since the end of the regular season. That's linebacker from Boise State, Leighton Vander Esch. Big fan of his, actually, watching some of his tape. And like I said, his improvement has really been something to watch. At least in his draft stock, you know what I mean? Like everyone, when this all first started, he was mid-second. Now he's moved up to a late first. Now it's like a mid-first type guy. So.
Yeah, he's really jumping up on the draft boards. This linebacker, this is my favorite guy, and this is what I'm going to tie in with the Mayfield.
Okay.
Linebacker Raekwon Smith.
From Georgia.
Mm-hmm. They came in and visited the same day.
Yeah.
So that's intriguing to me, and I think we could get Mayfield maybe at 12, maybe trade up a little bit and still have that 22nd pick, and maybe Raekwon Smith is there.
Right.
I don't know if he'll fall that far. I really don't think so, but it's just a possibility that maybe if we take Mayfield, we move up a little bit to take Mayfield at, let's say, at 8.
Right.
Okay? So you're giving up an extra pick to get up there, or 2. And then you take your 22 and you can trade up to maybe 18, 17 or something like that. And if Raekwon Smith is still there, we have the draft capital. Everybody thinks we just want to use it to get a quarterback. Maybe we use it in this instance to get 2 players that are
really good starters right away. Absolutely.
And you have your leader on offense and your leader on defense, a linebacker that can fly sideline to sideline. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that holds true for Vander Esch as well. Maybe we sit back at 22, and as long as both of them are still there, say, well, if they're both still there, we'll sit back here. And then when one goes off the board, it's like, okay, we'll move up, get the other guy. But we'll see about that. We have had another linebacker come in. He's the 12th guy. Again, not in any particular order, but on this list, he's our 12th guy in. Fred Warner from BYU. I know that you're impressed with him. You really like him, so I don't know if you want to say more about him.
Yeah, I got to see him at the Senior Bowl, and I liked how he kind of flew around. He was all over the place making tackles. He did get lost in coverage. I shouldn't say lost in coverage. He got beat in coverage a few times, but he's more of a little bit of a thumper.
Yeah.
So I like him as a mid-round pick. I don't think he's up in the top echelon, but he's somebody I think that can come in and compete. Maybe he can be a Milano this year. So that's my ceiling for him.
Yeah, and that's something to look out for. We know that Coach McDermott has been a defensive guy for a while now, so he really knows how to scout defensive talent. He knows his scheme, so he knows what guys work best with that scheme. But those are the guys that we've had come and visit. Again, these are 12 of the 30 visits, 18 more guys that we have to visit that can come in for a visit. Not saying that we'll know who they all are.
Yeah, sometimes all of them don't come out till after the draft.
Right.
When, a prospect gets drafted by another team or that team, and they say, "Oh yeah, we did visit the Bills."
Right. So we'll see what happens there, but that's kind of like where if you're looking at what the Bills interested in, that kind of gives you, at least position-wise, that tells you the positions we're looking at closely. So that's it for that. One more thing of note that I'm a big fan of, just because I really like this guy as a Bill. I know a lot of you probably did too. News came out today of Fred Jackson trying to sign a 1-day deal to retire as a Bill. So, and Steve and I talked off camera. It's not like he was a Pro Bowler much of his career. He's not going to be anything more than it's just a nice little send off, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's been wanting to play the past couple of years. I think he finally realizes his time's over. So and a lot of these players do that for, if they played in an organization one long time or something like that, they say sign a 1-year or 1-day contract just to retire. And it's a ceremonious
type thing,
exactly. And he might be one of those guys who's on the Wall of Fame, but everybody has their mixed opinion. I'm not as big a fan of Fred Jackson as most people, but I do understand the grit that he played with, and he's durable, and I do respect that. But so this is neat for him and his family to kind of have this. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's when you say, well, I'm not even sure if he played that well, but I know a lot of people out there really just love him.
Yeah.
And he is, from what I understand, he is a class act. He loved the city of Buffalo, which is always nice and appreciated. So it's going to be good to see him retire as a Bill. But that's all the information we had for you today. I don't know if you have anything else. That's it. So yeah, again, if you like this kind of information, we're going to keep giving it to you. We'll pound it in your head till we make believers out of you. But until next time, let me do this again. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like or dislike this video, comment, and we will comment back. But until next time,
Go Bills.
Go Bills.